cr101radio.com, podcasts, and more.
21. How to be a failure. Part 5. Be in love with yourself. October the 6th, 1953. Good morning, friends. Since so many people seem to be thoroughly bent on being a failure, we're going to spend a little more time on the ways and means of getting the worst out of life. Last week we saw that an easy road to failure and frustration is criticism. The critical person sets himself up as judge in the place of God and criticizes everyone in terms of himself. He trusts no one except himself and believes no one else is capable of doing anything exactly right. On the other hand, the true Christian loves instead of criticizing, is patient instead of impatient, and knows that the only true judge is God and not himself. Living thus in the Holy Spirit, he avoids failure and has a victorious and peace-filled life. This morning we're going to consider a very popular way to failure and frustration, a very commonly used one. Be in love with yourself. A great many people need no urging whatsoever in that regard. The big love affair of their lives is exactly that, their love of themselves. It's a romance that doesn't fade away with the years, but only grows more passionate and intense. We see such people all around us, and very often in the mirror, don't we? The person who is deeply in love with himself expects the whole world to share his passion. Everyone has to feel as deeply in love with him as he is himself. It makes no difference how he treats them. He can be nasty, suspicious, angry, thoughtless, cruel, faithless, and unloving. But if you dare doubt his love or express any disapproval of his character, you're then a traitorous and disloyal person. We all know people like this. They are not interested in anything but their own lives, love nothing but themselves, trust no one but themselves, and yet are always afraid that everyone near them is disloyal and worthless. They are ready to lie about the most trivial matters rather than admit that their grand passion is a wayward one and that they can be wrong. What makes them so? How can people be so blind as to fall in love with themselves? The answer is again the same. At the root and basis of every failure is the old satanic temptation to be as God. Man deifies himself and his wishes and sets himself up as the center of the universe. Everything in his world has to revolve around him, since he is the heart and center of all. If he has a family and employees whom he can control, he leads them a dog's life if they fail to bow down and worship his God, himself. The man who is in love with himself believes that he is the most important thing in the world, or else should be. He devotes his life to the only thing that matters in his world, his own welfare. He is concerned with the fundamentals of life, and he believes them to be his interests and desires. We can agree with these great lovers on one point only. A man should love the most important thing first and foremost, but we cannot agree that the most important thing in the world is your life and mine. When you come right down to it, we really don't matter very much, except to a few, and we can be easily forgotten. There is nothing that really matters above all else in the world, nor can we even rate the world itself that high. The central love and devotion of our lives can only be deservedly given to God himself and to his Son, Jesus Christ. Every other love will fail you. Your loved ones fail you, or do not understand, or they die and leave you alone. And if it is yourself whom you love, you really have no security in nothing but continued turmoil and frustration. You have peace with neither God nor your neighbor nor yourself. But when you love God, who alone deserves your life's central devotion, then you can love others in him. Jesus said, "Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy strength, and with all thy mind, and thy neighbour as thyself. Luke 10:27. Deep down in their hearts, people love only themselves, and others only if they please them, until the Lord changes their lives and gives them a new life, now centred not on the self, but on the Lord. Then, because we are no longer self-centred and self-loving, we can love our neighbour. As John stated it, we love because he first loved us. 1 John 4:19, ASV. In other words, God shows us how to love. We don't deserve his love, being selfish and wrapped up in ourselves, but he loves us all the same. His love not only surrounds us, but works through us to affect our world. Paul said long ago, "Set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth." Colossians 3:2. Give your love to him who will never fail you, and you will then have peace and victorious living. Any love short of that leads to frustration, and any love apart from or outside of him fades away. As the old hymn so beautifully states it, "O love that wilt not let me go, I rest my weary soul in thee. I give thee back the life I owe, that in thine ocean depths its flow may richer, fuller be." George Matheson and Albert L. Peace. O love that wilt not let me go. May the Lord direct your hearts into the love of God and into the patience of Christ. 2 Thessalonians 3:5, ASV.